Welcome to Peak TV. I'm Niv Dagan, Executive Director of Peak Asset Management, and we've got Marc Barnett, CEO of Flexiroam. Marc, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Niv. Appreciate you having me.
Marc, Flexiroam, tell us more about what you do.
So Flexiroam is a connectivity business. So we started the business a bit over 10 years ago. We've been listed for the last 5 years. And what we do is we provide connectivity solutions to both consumers and businesses. And so we effectively ensure that consumers, when they're traveling anywhere in the world, can have ongoing connectivity. And we have branched out the business to be more than just a consumer data travel roaming business, to also start to provide connectivity in the IoT space to any device, anywhere, for any reason.
And Marc, you've come from an extensive background. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you found yourself in Flexiroam?
Yeah, so my background predominantly has been in Australia and Southeast Asia. And so I spent about 10 years in Microsoft, or the Microsoft joint venture, the 9MSN MI9 business in Australia. The last 5 years was spent in Kuala Lumpur with a business called iFlix, which was a streaming video on demand business. We expanded that business out across Asia, Middle East and Africa. And we ended up selling the business to Tencent last June. And so I transitioned out of that business in August, and then spent a bit of time sort of thinking about what was next. And I came across Flexiroam earlier this year. I had a few conversations with Jeff, who was the founder and the CEO at the time, just in terms of the business had gone through massive change and upheaval during the COVID period. When you're a consumer-facing travel business and the entire world shuts its borders, that's a fairly big challenge for the business. And so we spent a little bit of time talking about the challenges the business had been through. They downsized the team from 70 people down to 15 people, rebalanced the P&L, expanded into the IoT space. And the business was sort of at that crossroads of what's next. It had survived the tough period, and then when you look ahead, there was a lot of opportunity there, but there were different paths to take in terms of how to attack that opportunity. And so originally I joined the board. So I joined the board in February, and the real plan was to sort of be a mentor to Jeff as the CEO and help guide him through some of those challenges. And as I got into it, I just got more and more passionate about the business every day. And so I was that board member who just turned up to the office every day and sat in every meeting and asked 1,000 questions. And the more we looked at it, the more I sort of realized that it was the right time with the travel rebound coming and the expansion into the IoT space. And a lot of that groundwork had been done, but we hadn't necessarily capitalized on the opportunity yet. And so from my perspective, I said, look, we've got a global infrastructure in place. We are connected to more than 580 telcos. We operate in more than 150 countries, but we have a team and a business that's very Southeast Asia centric, and the opportunity was global. And so the more we talked about it, the more it sort of made sense for me to move from being on the board into the CEO role and take on the challenge of building out the global team, putting the strategy in place, and then executing on that strategy to maximize the infrastructure that we've built.
And Marc, shows a lot of commitment to, I think you talked to me about that you transition your entire family into Dubai. That's enormous. Tell us a little bit more about the addressable market. I mean, how big is this space? And also, what is you'd say, unique selling proposition over the competition?
Yeah, so when I took the role, given that I see the opportunity as global, the first thing that we did was sort of pack up and move to Dubai. I wanted to place myself central from a time zone perspective, because I think the opportunity in Europe and North America is massive. And as we build out our global team, we're going to have more and more people based in those areas. And so I wanted to sort of be in a position where I could get up early and do calls like this, and in connecting with Australia from an ASX perspective, but also be able to operate at the other end of the time zone and not have to do those sort of 3 a.m. phone calls. And so we've recently appointed a Chief Revenue Officer, Joost Cordes, who will be based in Amsterdam. He has an extensive IoT background and is going to build out our commercial sales team in that part of the world. And we're very close to appointing a chief technology officer who will also be based in that part of the world, most likely the UK. And so as we're sort of building that out, the feet on the ground and the experience in those markets are really important to us. When we sort of think about the size of the pie, I don't like to answer those questions with stats and figures because anyone can reel off those stats and figures. I sort of just go more to common sense. The world has been restricted massively. People have not traveled. There's a huge demand for people to get back out there and travel. And we all know, we've all experienced what happens when you click the wrong button or do the wrong thing when you're traveling and your roaming charges go through the roof. And so what we try and do is say, we provide the easiest services possible to make sure that you can travel, use your phone, use your data, stay connected at all times. And it's for any reason. So there's business travelers who want to make sure they're connected at all times for email. There's also travelers who want to make sure the second they get off the plane, they can post their Instagram shot of wherever they are. And so there's just so many different reasons. Now, depending on what kind of phone you have, if you have an older model phone, then you sign up for Flexiroam. We send you out a SIM card in the mail. You pop that SIM card in, or we have a sticker that goes on top of your existing SIM card so that you can take calls on your existing line, but use our line for data. Or for the more recent phones, we are in the eSIM space. And so if you have an eSIM enabled phone, you can download the Flexiroam app and get connectivity within minutes. And then you can manage those lines so that you can use multiple lines for multiple reasons. And you can buy data packs that are global and last for a year, or you can buy a data pack that lasts for 3 or 4 days in one country, depending on what your needs are.
And I mean, the opportunity is absolutely enormous. I know we spoke about this offline. What other verticals, and talk us through a little bit more about some of the recent partnership that you've signed up, because that's really impressive.
Yeah, so when we sort of talk about the verticals, once we decided to branch out, we sort of looked at it and said, look, what we've built in the travel data roaming space is big, and the opportunity in front of us is huge. But with that kind of infrastructure and almost 600 telco partnerships, we realized that we were only scratching the surface when it came to the travel business. And so we expanded into the IoT business. We call it Flexiroam Solutions. And the first vertical that we picked off in that space was the MPOS space, because every shop that you go into has at least one, if not multiple terminals sitting there, and all of those terminals need connectivity. And they're not roaming connectivity, but they all need connectivity. And if you're in a market that has 2, 3, 4 telcos, we all know that different telcos have different service and different coverage depending on whether you're in suburb A, suburb B, street A, street B. And the challenge then is, if you're an MPOS provider, is who do I go with? Who do I partner with? Do I have to partner with all 4 telcos, and which one's the strongest? One of the benefits of the Flexiroam solution is once we embed our technology in those machines or put one of our SIMs in those machines, it picks up whichever telco network has the strongest coverage. And if you're a regional player or a global player and you're shipping devices internationally, rather than needing to ship them internationally and then form local partnerships, you can embed Flexiroam into those devices, ship them wherever you want to ship them, and when they get turned on, they have connectivity instantly. So we've recently done a partnership with a business called GHL. GHL is the largest MPOS provider in Southeast Asia. We've partnered with them across Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand, and we'll continue to expand that partnership and grow more partnerships in the MPOS space. But more importantly, we're now in conversations across multiple verticals, automotive, electricity meters, everything from smart garbage bins through to water heaters. Any device that requires connectivity is a partner that we can work with. And then at a global level, we've done a partnership with Apple, where we're one of 9 global eSIM partners with Apple. And we have a partnership with MasterCard across Asia Pacific. We're providing services to MasterCard to add on to their cards as a benefit. And so as they roll out new MasterCards to banks across Asia Pacific, Flexiroam's added into that service. So there's multiple different partnerships and different ways that we can work with partners moving forward.
Marc, the opportunity is absolutely enormous. So fast forward 6 or 12 months and we're having this chat again, hopefully face-to-face, not over Zoom. Tell us what the business looks like and what you're so excited about.
Yeah, so there's probably a couple of different ways to answer that. The business looks really different from a people perspective because we're building out a completely new leadership team, and as I said, that leadership team and the team at large goes from all being based in one office in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia to being spread out across the world. And so everybody would say this, but COVID has accelerated the opportunity to work remotely, and we're sort of moving away from a world that says, we need to relocate people into our head office, or we need to create offices and hubs and people need to move there, or look, Niv, you've got the right skill set for us, but we don't have an office where you are, so you'll either need to move or we can't hire you. Our view is we're going to get the best people who can do the jobs that we need them to do, and it doesn't matter where they're based, and we can connect just like you and I are now. And so if our business is called Flexiroam and it's to enable connectivity globally, no matter where you are, we need to embrace the fact that we can have employees based all around the world, wherever they are. And so our team will be much larger, it'll be much more experienced, and we'll have a global presence to enable us to capture that global opportunity. I think we've also, in 6 months' time, when we're looking back, done a lot more partnership deals. You'll see a regular flow of partnership announcements, and those deals will look really different. As I said, there'll be different verticals that we've moved into beyond just the MPOS space. There'll be partnerships that look really different. So as I've sort of dived in, what I've realized is every conversation that I've had with people, there is a use case for our business. And so I won't go into the detail yet, but even large sporting organizations that are member-based sporting organizations, there are sports that travel on a weekly basis to all different parts of the world, and the athletes, the coaches, the support staff, the broadcasters all need that connectivity, and we can partner with those kind of organizations and enable that connectivity in ways that others can't because of the infrastructure that we've built. So what you'll see, I think, is a business that was very focused on a consumer travel market with an MPOS add-on to be a business that really looks like a diverse global business that can really touch anything.
Marc, fantastic. Congrats on the efforts today, and looking forward to catching up in person soon over a beer. And thanks for joining us here at Peak TV.
Awesome. Thanks, Niv. Really appreciate you having me.